Alright guys, so in today's video we are going to be checking out this EcoFlow Delta Mini portable power station. So full disclosure before we get started, they are not paying me for this video, but they did send me this unit for free to make a video about. We are going to run this thing through some tests, see what it can power, see what it can't power, see how good it is, see how long the battery lasts, and all that good stuff. Hopefully by the end of the video, if you were kind of on the edge, kind of like I was, this unit, by the way, is kind of designed to replace a gasoline generator or be a good substitute for one. So maybe if you were kind of like on the edge on whether you should get a gas generator for your situation or you should lean towards a portable power station like this, hopefully by the end of the video you'll have your answer and you'll be able to figure that out. So let's get started. Alright, so let's talk about some specs. So this thing weighs I think it's 23.6 pounds. It's basically 25 pounds. It has 882 watt hours of capacity, and it can support devices up to 1800 watts. So I'll kind of give you like a visual demonstration of like what all that means. Up here up front, we'll look at the ports. You have a very nice LCD display. You can turn it on. You can see over here it tells you how many hours the device will run at the current power draw that it is experiencing. With nothing plugged in, it'll stay in standby mode for whatever that is, 83 hours. We have 100% battery, and then it has two other indicators. It'll show you the amount of wattage that is getting inputted to the device and how much the device is outputting. A 100 watt USB-C port, two regular USB-A's, and then a USB-A fast charging port. Around here on the back, we'll start up here at the top. You have a reset button, so if you overload it, you can reset it. You have where your power cable plugs in to charge it. You have a switch for whenever you're charging. You can there's two different charging speeds. There is slow. Oh, I should have known. It's just slow and fast. So with slow, I don't know offhand how long it takes to charge with slow. I think maybe 3 or 4 hours. But with fast, fast charging will bring the unit from 0% to 80% within 1 hour, and then I think 1.6 hours from 0 to 100%. And then you have this port back here on the back for you can plug this into a cigarette outlet to charge it, or which I also have solar panels, so I'll show you that in here in a minute. You can plug this into solar panels, charge it that way. So you have a lot of different ways to charge, and then you have 5 different 120 volt outlets with the little hole here so that you can support plugs that have a ground plug on them. And then down here you have a regular 12 volt cigarette port, and then you have 2 of these ports that support anything that I guess takes this type of charging cable. I don't know offhand what this charging cable is called, but you have 2 of these ports where you can plug in and charge something. So you have a ton of ports, a ton of different options. You can pretty much charge or power just about anything. So let's load this thing up and just see what it can handle. So first thing I'm gonna plug up, let's just plug up my phone. So that'll be device number 1. You see that pulls 15 watts. Let's throw my watch on there. Okay, that's 2 devices. Let's throw a set of wireless headphones on there. Okay, that's 3. I have a camera battery. We'll put that on the fast charge side. Then we'll start plugging things into the back. I have another phone, plug that in. Let's plug in this boombox, start that charging. Okay. And then just for fun, I have the battery pack to the electric lawnmower from that video. So we'll plug that in to charge. And then we will also add in this giant 80-volt battery pack that I have for my leaf blower. Plug that in. Alright, so after all that, where are we at? This thing's going to take a minute to kind of kick up to speed. We will also plug in, I have a massage gun that happens to take that one weird plug that I don't really know the name of. So we'll put that there, plug that one in too. Looks like we're up to about 500 watts, so nowhere near the 1800 that we can support. We still have one plug left, so let's plug in a space heater. A space heater is not something that you would typically power with this unit because this will drain the battery extremely fast, but just to prove how powerful this thing is and how much power it can output, I'm going to use it as a demonstration. So we'll plug that in. We'll kick that on. And with all of this going together, we should end up somewhere around 1700 or so watts. Okay, so we're actually a little bit over 1800 watts. This can only support up to 1800 watts, and it will support over 1800 watts for a short while, but I don't know how long it's going to take, but it will eventually turn itself off if we continue to pull over 1800 watts. I'm actually going to let it go, and I'm just going to let everything sit here and run, and let's just see what happens. Ah, there it is. You can see it has a overload, and it shut itself off. So you can't pull over 1800, but just for demonstration purposes, you can see how much stuff you can power. Of course, like I said, you would never be powering a space heater from this thing. Even though, just for demonstration purposes, I will show you. You can power a space heater by itself. That's completely fine. That's not going to hurt anything. Although, if you are powering a space heater, it'll get you about 30 minutes or so out of this unit, which obviously, like I said, you would never be doing that because it would suck down so much power so fast. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of all of the things that you can power. We literally have more ports and more plugs than we have stuff that can use up all of the power, minus like something super high draw like the space heater. I don't even know how many phones you could plug in. I mean, the charging your devices and all that stuff, you're basically just limited by the amount of ports that this thing has, not necessarily the power that it can put out. So that's a pretty good start. Alright, so we know that you can, charge your devices on this thing and all that kind of stuff. But what about, what if you were on a construction site and for some reason you couldn't have a gas generator or whatever? And could this thing power just like a standard skill saw, so you could make some cuts or whatever? Let's see if it can do that. Now, saws like this, they have a very high starting wattage. They have a very high surge. So whenever I start this saw, before I start cutting, you'll see that this thing will surge up to about like 2700 watts. But it should be able to handle that. Alright, I'm going to do just like a regular cut, like a regular cut at a regular speed, and then I'm going to try to jam the saw through and try to put it under as much stress as possible. I handled that, no problem. Let's do a fast one. I don't know how high that surged up whenever I would hit the board, but obviously in real life you never saw that fast, but I mean that handled that without a problem. That literally, if I was blindfolded, I would not be able to tell you the difference if I was plugged into a wall or if I was plugged into this thing. I think that's pretty impressive. Alright, so we're in the kitchen. I know the lighting is just absolutely perfect. Whenever they sent me this thing, one of the first things I thought was, how long will it run my fridge? Where I live, the power really doesn't go out. It goes out maybe 3 to 4 times a year for maybe 4 or 5 hours. And most of the time it's shorter than that. So it's it goes out just long enough to need something to keep your refrigerator running, and that's pretty much it. So I have my refrigerator plugged into an extension cord, plug it in back here. I don't know what it's doing. It said it was pulling 475 watts for a second. I don't know exactly what it's doing. Oh, now it's pulling 140 watts. So this says 6 hours, but obviously the fridge is going to cycle on and off, and we'll see how long it lasts. Also, I forgot to mention, it is 9 a.m., 9:19. So we'll do the math later and figure out how long it stays on. All right, so it is now 5:43, and you can see we are at, well, I don't know, maybe you can't see. You can see we are at 2%. I'm actually not going to let it go all the way down to 1, just because it's not that good for batteries to run, completely empty. So we'll call it here at 2%. We started at 9:19, I believe. It's like 5:42. I'm not very good at math, but that's like a little bit over 8.5 hours. So that's, I'm impressed. That's a long time to run a full-size fridge and freezer. So I'm impressed. All right, so now that we have ran our battery pack dead, let's talk about some recharging options. So here, this is going to be the first one we're going to talk about. These are solar panels. This thing can accept up to 300 watts of solar power. These are just four panels that are all foldable together. And they're super easy to hook up. They have these connectors on them, which I believe are, I don't remember what these connectors are called, but I believe these are just like standard solar panel connectors, and a lot of solar panels have these connectors. Red to positive, black to negative, and you have your little port that plugs into the back. Put these things outside, and then we will see how much solar we can draw from the sun, even though it's getting pretty late in the day, and I don't think it'll be much, but we'll see what we can do. All right, so let's see how many watts we can get from the sun. I don't imagine it's going to be very many. I think it takes a second to kick on. All right, so we're getting about 94 watts, which is, pretty low, but it is wintertime and the sun is very weak. So that's actually not too bad. You can see at 94 watts, it is going to take us 11 hours to recharge, which we don't have 11 hours. So there you go, you can charge it with solar panels. So another option that we have, and obviously the fastest, is to simply just plug it into the wall and charge it. So let's plug that in. And we have 2 charging speeds that I'll show you. We have it on the slow charging speed now, which is going to pull, it kind of bounces around a little bit, but roughly 200-ish watts. And you can see that it's going to take 5 hours to charge at that wattage. And then we also have our fast charge. We'll turn that on. I think that will pull us up to, 800 watts. I don't know exactly what's going on. I think that maybe since the battery is so low, maybe it won't fast charge until it gets to a certain percentage, maybe, perhaps. So something else that I want to point out is that this thing, you can use this thing passively while you charge it. So, like while I'm charging, I can plug this heat gun in. You see, I can pull 1100 watts from it while it charges. So that's going to be really useful for, like, obviously using your devices while you charge this. But something else I was thinking of, while doing the fridge test, if you were in a situation where, like, you had your fridge plugged into this thing, and say your power wasn't just, like, completely out, and say, like, every few hours it would, like, kick back on for a little bit and then, like, shut back off, and if it did that, like, over a couple days, if you just left everything plugged into this, every time the power kicked back on, it would charge this thing up a little bit, and then you could, continue to have power while charging this thing. So I think that'd be really cool. I don't know why this thing isn't doing the high wattage fast charge. It's going to take 4 hours. I'm going to let it sit for a minute and see if maybe once it gets up to like a certain percentage or something, maybe it'll kick itself up, and we'll see what happens. All right, so you can see that we have, as soon as it hit 6%, it kicked into the fast charging up to 500 watts. And I'm sure it'll probably continue to go up as it gets more of a charge. So it says that it's going to take 2 hours to get fully charged. I think it's actually going to take less than that. So I'm going to put this timer down for 60 minutes, 1 hour. And we'll come back in 1 hour and we'll see where we're at. Alright, it's been about an hour. We got about 6 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, so let's see where we're at after 1 hour. Oh, we are at 67%. Alright, so it says that it's going to take 48 minutes to get the rest of the way full. We'll do 47 minutes, just in case. Alright, 47 minutes. See you guys then. Well, I don't know when it got fully charged, but it definitely beat the timer. I got out here like 45 seconds before the timer was supposed to go off, and it was already fully charged. So so it charged. I don't know what the total time was, but about 1.6 hours, just like they advertised. I'm kind of impressed that it actually like beat its own timer. You'd think that like it would know exactly when it was supposed to be charged, and it ends up beating its own time. So that's kind of handy. All right, so overall, I like this unit. I think this is something very beneficial to have, especially if you are someone that, like I said, is in a situation like me where you don't necessarily have a reason to have any type of like generator or really even one of these. There's not really a big demand for it, but you know, like for me, that 2 or 3 times a year that the power does go out, this will come in handy, and it is nice to have. And you know, since I'm only going to need it like 2 or 3 times a year, that 2 or 3 times a year, I'm not going to have to, you know, try to find gas and oil. Is the oil topped off? Do I have the right type of oil? I got to change the oil. Like, you know, you don't have to worry about all this maintenance stuff and whatnot. And with one of these, I don't know if I said this before, but you can charge this thing up fully and then leave it for an entire year before you have to recharge it. So you can literally just get one, charge it up, throw it in a closet, and then you don't have to worry about anything. And then whenever the power goes out or whatever happens, you just push one button, and then there you go. Now you have power. So I really like that. So I will leave the information for these in the description below. And also, this company doesn't just make these. They make these battery packs in this size. They make a few sizes smaller than this. They also make a few sizes way bigger than this. They make other ones that you can take like 2 or 3 of these and combine them together. They make all kinds of stuff. So if you're interested in anything like this, that link will be in the description below. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.